Our discussion is about Noach, and he was in the Teva, and we know that the raven, Ha-Orev, the raven, okay, and Ha-Yonah, the dove, okay, they were both used by Noah to go out and to find dry land. The raven is an unclean animal and unclean bird, and so only two were taken onto the Teva, the ark. However, we're told by our sages in the Midrash that three copulated on the Teva. There was the raven, the Caleb, the dog, and Ham, the son of Noach. Now, we recognize that Noach was unhappy with the raven, and so he sent the raven out. The raven is circling the Teva, and making his sound, "Rom, Rom." He's not happy because he's saying, "If I perish, who is going to, how will my species survive?" Well, folks, you may not know this, but the raven is perhaps the most intelligent species aside from humankind. So we recognize Noah expressed some of his unhappiness with the raven. We know that the raven spilt his seed. Zerah is the gematria of 277, as is Orev, the raven. We know that when we sin, we have Anavera, and that's the gematria of 277. We know when evening comes, it's Ha'erev, it's nighttime. That's the gematria of 277. And so we know the raven's complaint is, "My helpmate is there on the Teva, and you have sent me out of the Teva." And Azer is the gematria of 277 also. So we recognize all of these words are pointing to a time when the raven was really, really unhappy. But we know that it was the raven that fed the great prophet, the great Novi, and brought him bread. Now, we have, in America, we have the raven, and then we have another bird which is very similar to the raven, but they both share the same name. And so the American crow, and they're both black, and they look very much alike, but the raven is larger. And we won't go into the different explanations of how you can determine them. Now, when I lived up in the mountains, there were these beautiful birds. There were beautiful colors, and they looked like pigeons. But a pigeon and a dove are essentially the same. And they would fly in from South America, and they had such incredible respect for humankind, and they were just wonderful, and they'd all come in to eat at the same time and leave at the same time. They're amazing. The word Hayona is the gematria of 76, and Eved, which means servant, is the gematria of 76. The dove was sent out of the Teva, and the dove was part of the clean birds, so there were 7 of them. And so it wasn't like if the dove perished that it would make a difference as far as the species continuing. But the dove went out and did so in service of Noach, his family, and the other beings that were on the Teva. And so we recognize in the name Hayona that desire, that willingness to be a servant. And so we have 2 very different birds. One is a scavenger, one that is unclean, and one that is pure and unpure, clean and unclean. And so in our lives, we have a challenge. We have a challenge as to how we want to live. We have a challenge as to how we should live. And that choice is ours. Do you want to be a dove or a raven?